Hello and welcome to the audio commentary by Film Brain, aka Matthew Buck, of Kickassia. So, where to begin with this one? Where to begin? I think I should probably begin with describing the trip, because the trip is actually a fairly interesting one because I've never travelled before. Well, I've travelled before, but I've only travelled on a plane once, and I've only done it 10 years ago, so this was a bit of a culture shock for me, having to go on this trip. What happened was, I was invited to go to the Brawl last year, but I had to turn them down because I had a drama exam performance. So, at the same time that they were filming that, in my time zone, I was going through a test electrical performance, to test out the electrics, so I really couldn't be there, unfortunately. But I remember Michelle had promised me that I'd be there next year, and I said, oh, I'll be up for it if you are. And sure enough, come January, Michelle asked me the question, do you want to come? And my initial reaction was, oh crap, it's that time again. Yeah, okay, alright. I'll have to ask my parents though, because, of course, going to America, that's kind of a bit of a big thing. Oh, and I love this opening credit music, by the way. Love it. Awesome work, Skitch. Anyway, as I was saying, initially I thought this was going to be in Chicago again. But when Michelle had let slip it was in Reno, I kind of got a bit antsy because, not having travelled before, not keen on the idea of connections. But eventually, it came down to the idea of, well, it's an adventure really, you haven't done this before, and it's probably a good idea to do it because, hey, you may not get the chance again. So, eventually I said yes, and I apologise to Michelle if I kept him waiting too long, because I believe I was the last one to be booked. I was actually the second most expensive one to book it as well. On the day we flew out, I had to wake up at 4 AM in the morning so I could catch my 5:30 bus. So, and then that bus took 90 minutes to get to Heathrow. I had to sleep on the bus a little bit, but I don't think I got that much because day was breaking, so you kind of got it in your eyes a bit. But I got there at 6, and then I spent about 4 hours just waiting for my plane to actually start boarding. While I was there, I picked up some movies in the duty free, which you should be seeing reviews of soon. But back to Kickassia, and the flight took about 11 hours on the initial round, and I had to watch in-flight movies to pass the time, obviously. If you're wondering what those in-flight movies were, by the way, they were Sherlock Holmes, Young Frankenstein, what was it? A Single Man with Colin Firth, which was grossly overrated, and something even I can't remember. Oh wait, no, it was Toy Story. I feel bad now not remembering Toy Story. But I got there in San Francisco, and after passing through customs, which was fairly easy, despite the fact that I managed to accidentally flick my Clash of the Titans ticket stub that was in my pocket the whole time at the immigration official, which led to that quite funny moment where he passed it back to me saying, "Is this yours?" Yes. Yes, it is. I got my bag, and the guy at customs was like, "Are you travelling by yourself?" Yes. Oh, I should mention, the other reason I was nervous was because I was travelling by myself. I thought that Mike J was coming, and I probably would have been a lot more confident with that, because Mike J, we met before, we met in London at a convention which we stupidly didn't film any footage for, and so I thought, we were discussing Kickassia, or, well, we didn't know it was Kickassia back then, but we were discussing that trip, and so we were kind of in agreement that if we were coming, we'd kind of go together. But that didn't work out that way. But I dealt with the trip quite well, I thought. I think when you're on your own like that, you kind of... I think I kind of get a bit lazy when I'm around people. I think I'm a bit too reliant on other people. But when you're on your own like that, you kind of reveal an inner strength that you don't realise you have.
So, I'll give you 10 minutes to pack things up, Ben.
It was only in San Francisco when we landed, and I was waiting for the plane to Reno, that I suddenly realised, oh shit, what have I done? I had a real bout of homesickness then, which was awful, but I managed to clear it up eventually. It only lasted about 5 minutes, but it was just a sudden culture shock of realising that you're in a completely different country. You're on the far side of the world. Oh, before I continue on, these scenes in this one here that I'm in, we shot all these when we were at home. Obviously, I love the little Matrix computer in the background there, and I actually gave Doug a lot more material, but I probably should have read the script a bit more because I don't think any of it was useful. Yeah, there's me there. Originally, I went on about how, what's that? Invading a small sovereign nation? I'll be right there! Well, I'll be right there, you know, provided I can get a boat. The boat line was because of the volcanic ash cloud, which was... excuse me. Which was in the news at the time. I managed to beat it on the way back, by the way, just in case you're wondering. And so I decided to put that in the video, but I probably should have paid a bit of a closer attention to what the script said before I went out. But never mind. I'm surprised Doug actually used it, because I wasn't in the script either.
It's time thing you're talking about?
Don't you know?
It said film brain, but he didn't give me a line to script. And he didn't specifically ask me to do a line, so I'm surprised it made it in actually, but hey,
No, I'm telling you it is time.
you win. Back to the trip in. The idea that Chick-fil-A's. Sorry. And back to the trip. After having a massive Coke from Burger King, yeah, I really became acquainted with American sizes when I was there. Ordered a medium and it was like a tank. Just like, whoa. Somehow I managed to drink that. But here's the funny thing. The first flight to Reno, it all seemed to be going swimmingly, and then there was some... it sounded like a cat being strangled, and a car fan belt being loose. That's not good signs to hear on a plane. And then the captain just quietly on the intercom just said, "We appear to be having a technical difficulty with our avionics. We'll see if this delays our takeoff time." I'm just thinking, that doesn't sound good. And about 5-10 minutes later, he said, 5-10 minutes later, he went on again and said, "Well, we're going to have to decommission this plane, because everyone's going to have to get off the plane." I was just like, oh god. And that was the worst nightmare. This was like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Because the problem was, my phone was tri-band, but it wouldn't call out in America. And that was a bit of a problem. Because first I couldn't call back to my parents to let them know I was okay. So I think it kind of went 2 days where they didn't know whether their son had, you know, kind of got lost somewhere in San Francisco and was kidnapped, or and I couldn't contact Bargo, Rob, or Doug because of the delay. So I was like, oh shit, there's going to be someone waiting at the airport and I'm not going to be there. I'm just like, oh god. And I was kind of getting a bit antsy about this for obvious reasons. And the plane arrived about 2 hours later. And, hey look, there's me! Are you excited? I'm excited. Excited! Yeah. What was it? I was getting really nervous because the plane was 2 hours late. So, I got on the plane. That flight went well without any avionics hitches. I listened through earphones to some radio, which alleviated my fears. And when I arrived in Reno, the first thing I literally saw was slot machines. Just like, wow, this really is gambling county, isn't it? I believe several other contributors were surprised at that as well. Spoonie, like Spoonie right there, it cracks me up every time. Okay, that's probably an embarrassing laugh to get on camera. Okay.
Is everybody here?
But when I arrived, thankfully, and I'm indebted to him for this, Linkara, Lewis Lavog had stayed behind because they'd obviously figured out my flight was delayed and I couldn't contact them. And so the first person I met was Lewis, aka Linkara, and he was very friendly. He was very kind. I mean, I'm very thankful that he stayed to pick me up. Eventually, after about 30 minutes of waiting, Bargo arrived, and Bargo is every bit as nutty as you've heard. But he's a great guy. But I was absolutely shattered by the end of this, because I'd spent 25 hours awake by this point. It was pretty brutal, because I've never been awake that long. And I managed to screw over Phalus. Phalus was my roommate. It was booked under his name. And what happened was, I wanted to sleep. You know, because 25 hours really takes a toll on someone. And I deadbolted the door. That's a bad thing, because when Phalus came along, 2 hours after I was asleep, totally in my coma, there was just like a ching, ching, ching. I heard knocking briefly, but I don't think I actually was in any state to react to it. Turns out that was Phalus trying to get into his room, and his room key wouldn't work. I'll get back to that in a second. The Nazi thing has stirred up surprising controversy, considering it's just so ludicrous. I mean, you can't take this seriously. He kind of... I think there was someone who called for it to be edited out, and I was just like, it wouldn't work without that. The scene wouldn't make any sense without it, and besides, it's too dumb to take seriously. First he condemns it, like, oh, you're a Nazi, like, no, I know. And then it's just like, you know who else was really good? Nazis! Believe it or not, it was actually shot worse. There was actually a joke with Wario that was cut out of the final version. And I would have loved to have seen the reaction if that stayed in. But it didn't. It was just a little brief visual shot, but yeah. I think Doug managed to skirt controversy there. Anyway, Phalus. Back to Phalus. So, Phalus had to room with Bargo for the first night. And I'm so sorry, Phalus. I am so sorry for that. I apologise profusely to him for that, and I still do, because I felt so bad about it. I was just tired, and I'm so sorry. But eventually he did manage to get into our room. But our room, by the way, was featuring quite a lot of crossovers, actually. It was the room I came out of in Hotel Awesome. It was the room that both my crossovers were shot in, and the room that Lindsay came out of in the Hotel Awesome sketch, that was my room. I shot that, and I had to walk away because I wouldn't stop laughing. I had to literally turn the camera on and just walk down the corridor, otherwise I was going to foul up that take. That was not Lindsay's room. Anyway, back to Kickassia again. So, I got the script about 2 weeks early, and that kind of gave me a lot of prep time. I was organising my own things, like the crossover with McBain and the Spirits with Brad and Lewis, and that meant that I had a lot of free time to just organise this thing. I should get back to that, however, because this was the very first thing we shot in Martyr. The very first thing. And, it was not actually that cold at this point. It was more like an autumn British day. But I recall Spoonie was like, "It's so cold." I was like, "You I I did some other takes of this, but I don't think they were usable because I kept clapping my hands like this, and that probably obscured the dialogue. Oh well. But I just love how I go into the soundtrack, and that is so creepy. I was trying to play for childlike innocence, and I'll get back to the character in a second. We had to run up this hill several times, and being young and energetic, I handled this in my stride pretty much, but I know several others were not so keen on this idea. However, I should mention that on one take I did actually trip up. I didn't fall. I have a bit of I have quite a good sense of balance, surprisingly, for being a discoordinated heap. But I did trip, which was pretty funny, and I tripped again on the way back here. The way back here, I tripped over a bush. See that bush on the left? It's just off camera at this point. That bush there, I tripped over that, and I believe Spoonie was the one who came to my rescue, because as I tripped over it, and I kind of got a bit wobbly, I felt someone's hand on my back, and that was Spoonie. Apparently he was trying to grab me. He was like save Film Brain, save him! And yeah, turns out I managed to keep my cool under pressure, and managed to keep balance, but thanks, Spoonie. Thank you for trying to save my life.
Hard work that we do not have.
All these hotel scenes, by the way, were shot on the last day.
This is balls. Wait! Do you dare leave now in your moment of victory? I would never leave you, critic.
I think Doug slightly cracks there. Doug, I think, found my shtick quite funny, because I don't think he was expecting me to be quite as energetic and into the character as my performance was. But I really played it up.
They're quite small and fit to the most overhead compartments. No, how'd you get in here anyway?
My character in this was the subject of some debate, because I'm out of character in this, but I didn't mind that, because the snarky, sarcastic side of me is not me. It's not me as a person. If you met me in a person, you'd see. I'd be more like this guy now, who's kind of all over the place, kind of a bit mental, but you know, all right, I suppose. So what? And I like the way Doug wrote it, because it was just another facet of my personality. See, when you're on camera like this, you only see a facet of who someone is. You only see like a tiny glimmer of who that person is. So Linkara is not Linkara in the video. He's like himself up to 10 in the videos, and that's the same with me. I mean, it's kind of based on myself, but it's not me. I don't go around really ranting on movies like. I mean, I sometimes do, but I don't go like I do in character. But I like being silly. I like playing, you know, the idiot. And the performance here is based on an old drama exam. I had to do Blue Remembered Hills, and in Blue Remembered Hills, it's adults playing kids, and that was one of my exam ones for GCSE. So I was like, I should probably play this character again, because when I read the script, I didn't see him as like this suck-up. I saw him as like this kid who really wanted to be in this, just oh, Mr. Edric, I'm so happy to be here! I'm so happy to be here! Yeah. So that's the character that I'm playing. And I can be really silly, I can be really strange sometimes, but that's just another facet of my personality. I think if you're expecting all of these people to be who they are on their videos, I don't think that's strictly true. I don't think anyone's exactly like they are on their videos. They're all just facets of a personality. And speaking of a facet of a personality, Spoonie, my man. Spoonie, I love Spoonie. Spoonie is possibly my favourite contributor. He's just so funny, but if you're expecting Spoonie to be like he is in his videos, he's not like that. He's a really nice, charming guy, and that kind of threw me for a loop, because I actually made the mistake of thinking he was like his vlogs, because even in his vlogs he's sort of like that, but I don't think he's not really like that. Even in his vlogs I think there is some element of a performance of a character just playing for the camera. Not that I'm saying that Spoonie's character is dishonest, I'm just saying that he's not like that. He's not like, fuck you man, fuck you, he's not like that. He isn't like that. But I made the mistake of thinking that he was, so I was a little bit antsy beforehand. I was just like, is he going to bring up the Inglourious Basterds Transformers 2 thing? I was a little bit nervous about that, and I think I was actually the one who brought it up in the end, and it was just like, I'm cool with it, I'm cool with it. We all have off days. Yeah, that's kind of getting beside the point though. We had a lot of backstage discussions. Generally, when we were hanging out, we'd all just, whenever I was around, we'd pretty much talk about film or whatever we were shooting at that point. But we generally got along really well. I think there's a real sense of camaraderie between everyone, and I think you can see that in the vlogs. And it's really like a family. It's like a big extended family. Some of them have said it's just like a big family reunion. I'd hate to know when I'm in that family reunion, but never mind. I think I was the baby of the group because I'm the youngest at 19. So I'm much younger than everyone else, and yeah, that would be a bit of a disservice in Gamblingville because 21 in America, so I can't drink. Not that I drink anyway. I'm not a big drinker actually, if I'm being honest. But more importantly, I couldn't get any meals. Not in the breakfast buffet like everyone else was. But luckily, it turns out that if you have someone with you who's over the age, you're fine. So during the trip, Phalus was my papa, which was subject to several jokes, especially for myself. This is very, very unstable terrain, and it was getting really cold by this point actually, so whenever you see 8-Bit Mickey, feel sorry for him because the weather was incredibly cold. I was wearing quite a thin jacket, so I was actually feeling the cold a bit. Oh, Wolverines! Symbolism! Wolverines and symbolism were not in the original script. They were not there. Those were improvised. The way that kicked off was, I think I stole Spoonie's line and said, Wolverines! And that kind of set the ball rolling, because then people were like, oh, you should do that. And then Spoonie was like, Wolverines! And that caught Doug's attention. Like, you should do that for cameras. And then he went over to me and said, like, you should do your symbolism thing as well. It's like, okay, alright. And sure enough, there they are. You don't actually see a lot of me in this, because for some reason I didn't want to keep volunteering. I don't know why. I think I was just having a bit of a weird thing that day. But, what I was trying to do in this scene, I had this squirt gun, this ridiculous looking squirt gun that Spoonie had given me. Like, looks completely fake, but I was trying to sell it like it was a real weapon. So I was holding it like I was holding it like an MP5. Like, 2 hands, like, I'm really hunched, trying to, like, as if I was in like a real battle position. You can see it right there a second ago. And that was what I was trying to do during this scene. But it was, the hard thing was trying to keep over this terrain, because there's so many bushes, so I was actually trying to jump over as many bushes as I could. Just like, but deliberately avoiding any giant rocks. Like the ones you can see right in the foreground there. Rob suffered the worst injury on set shooting this, because he fell, and I saw that from a distance, and I was just like, oh my god, is this shoot over already? Because this was the first day. We shot all these outside scenes on the first day. It's like, is this game over already? And luckily, as it turns out, no. But that wound did start looking pretty nasty by the end of the trip, I have to admit. Rob was on antibiotics for it when he got back to Chicago. I think he's okay now, unless he's mutating into some form of giant spider, in which case, spiders! Yeah, what else is there to say? Yeah, giant rock. That was the rock we posed on, by the way, for the photograph, the signed photograph. I think I was originally scripted to do these things, but yeah, I didn't jump up for them for some reason. Don't ask me why. Sometimes I don't even know. Most of the cars got sunburnt. I think some people didn't quite listen to Rob when he said, prepare for hot weather and prepare for warm weather, because it is going to be dressed for the apocalypse, essentially. That's what he said. Dress for the apocalypse, because it's going to be really unstable. And I bought my own sun cream, and I was one of the few people who didn't get sunburns. And I think, looking back, I think the way I was saved, because I applied it 3 times, and a lot of people went a very long gap without applying sun cream lotion. The first time I applied it was in the car before we shot the running up to on the trip there. After we'd done the whole running thing, I went to the house and applied it again, and I think that's where it saved me, because if I didn't apply it then, I think I probably would have been just as toasted as everyone else was. It was only later that Margot brought out the sun cream lotion, and I quite liberally put it on my face. I looked like a clown. It was very, very embarrassing for me. I was just like flicking it off my face. To Wario, absolutely lovely person in real life. Phaelus, Vargo, and Juario all went down to the shop near the hotel to buy some supplies, and he paid for our supplies, and I was just like, I can pay for this, I've got money to buy for my stuff, and he's like, it's cool, just buy me a soda. And you know what, true to my word, I did. On the last day in the hotel scenes, I went in and bought him a soda. But I did feel kind of guilty for him having to pay for all that, but never mind. Yeah, I brought plenty of supplies. I bought suntan lotion. I brought my own water as well. And I probably should have brought the remaining water, because we had so much water. We bought too much water. But we probably should have taken it to the shoot, because supplies were running a bit low towards the end of the shoot, I should say. Oh, you can see Phaelus in the background there. I think I was the cause of that. It was like, are they still shooting? Oh no, I'll check. So yeah, sorry, my fault. Yeah, but I managed to survive because I just liberally put it on, just like, and any time I was off camera, I tried to get as much shade as I could. So the jacket I had on, I was putting that over my neck to make sure that didn't get burnt, because you got to watch out for the back of your neck. And as Doug learnt to his because Doug got it bad on his neck. Doug's neck on several other days looked a distinct shade of crimson. He looked a bit like a berry. Not helped by the uniform, of course. His skin started to match the uniform a bit, I think. Anyway. Oh, the M. Bison outfit, by the way, was $600, I believe. But it's worth every penny. That suit is amazing. But his accent, I'll get to that in a minute, but his accent really cracked me up on the first day, because I was not expecting to be like, foot snow! But many other cast members got burnt quite badly. Angry Joe on his nose especially. Which is a bit of a shame. Also a bit of a shame, I'm out of shot in this. I'm the green gun on there, and I walked out of shot. Like an imbecile. I didn't realise... Rob didn't tell me I was out of shot. Maybe I'm cropped out by the overscan, but... you can see me doing like the kill pose, like a sideways pose with a squirt gun. It's a bit of a shame that's not him, but it's not as obvious, but never mind. Mr. Barr's family was very friendly. The kid on the left there, by the way, hey, we had lots of fun because he would pretend to beat me up, and I gamely play along. And because you know kept me occupied, and just a nice guy. I just liked it. I think he had a lot of fun with it. He kind of liked having it. They all liked to hang around, which is surprising. Another time! Well, she said to me that's my best delivery, I think. I'd agree.
That's a good idea.
Are those Bennett the Sadist goggles on Lindsay? I'm not sure. They might be. I think I've seen him wear them before. I think I've seen them in other videos.
So I can look down on all of you and see just how equal we all are. Feel yourselves comfortable, everybody, for we have given birth to the greatest nation ever known. We have given birth to
What scares me is how wide my mouth is open here. Right there. Just like, I was not aware my mouth was that big. I mean, I've been told I've got a big mouth before, metaphorically speaking.